Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. I've got goodies because audience participation is good, although it's only 8 minutes, so we'll see how this goes. So this talk, you all saw the first slide, but I'm going to skip past it, so sorry to disappoint anyone, came as a result of an event I was at yesterday, so I'm going to show this. She didn't know I was going to do this. I won't point out who I was having this conversation with, but I was at an event yesterday. So my name's Anne-Marie, sorry, I run Stemettes. Has anyone heard of Stemettes before? Yay! So if you don't know what Stemettes are, where have you been? Are you joking? So we run workshops and events and experiences for girls around the UK. In 3 years, we've had about 7,000, 10,000 girls attend them. We actually try and make it experiential rather than having to talk to them. But sometimes I'm forced to speak to audiences of young girls, and I oblige and I do it. Yesterday, I was at a conference for young girls in the middle of Kent. And this is a conversation I had with a friend of mine that's in the room while it was going on. So I'll read it. So I said, "Hi dear, have you seen this guy speak before?" So there was a guy on stage from some organisation who was speaking to the audience of girls, and I could see them all sleeping, and I was cringing. And this was a conversation we had. So, "Hi dear, have you seen this guy speak before? Does he know his audience?" "I know," she said. I said, "I'm a bit worried, like really worried." She said, "I didn't ask him here." I was like, "Geez." I said, "The morning was ace, I don't think he has long." I said, I looked at my watch, I was like 10 minutes left. I'm very sure his heart is in the right place, but I can't say that's enough. Then he showed a video, so that's why she said he should have just showed this. And I said, "Is there a feedback mechanism for him?" It's a very nice video though. And she said, "Oh God." And then I said, "Every fibre in my body wants to yell stop." And then this was just this morning actually. And so I thought, do you know what? It's actually really unfair for me to do that and to say that. He's a well-meaning guy. He didn't turn up, which is what that first slide was, on live television to try and talk about some great science project with naked, or nearly naked women on his jacket. He was a nice person. And so I've decided, this is like brand new, so I've decided since this morning, that now, because I don't like giving the talks, but I seem to get a really, really nice, positive audience response when I do give the talks. For example, yesterday, two of the girls have Instagrammed photos of either of my talk or selfies they took of me and said it was the best thing they've ever heard, ever. So it's not in my words, they enjoy it, and put it on Instagram. And I didn't ask them to put it on Instagram, and tagged us when I didn't ask them to tag us. But anyway, so I decided to not be selfish about it, to cut my work a little bit, and now I'm on a campaign, so you are the first guinea pigs of this. I'm going to try and train people to give that kind of talk when I'm not there, so I don't have to go to all these countries, to all these places in the middle of nowhere to give this talk. It's been tried and tested, so I have given it before yesterday. I've given it maybe a couple hundred times. Always has the same responses. If anyone wants it in more detail, because I only have 8 minutes and the talk itself is like 25, half an hour, come and let me know. Drop me an email, stemettes@gmail.com, or tweet us, and I'm more than happy to take you through it and how it works, and to give you where you're going to pause for applause and pause for laughter. What I'm going to do now is just give you a really quick overview of what to include and what I think works in this talk and in loads of other talks, in the hope that maybe you can take it and involve it in what you're doing. I'm going to go back to audience participation, so I always start with who knows what STEM stands for. Does anyone here know what STEM stands for? Yes, your hand went right up. What does STEM stand for?
Science, technology, engineering.
Round of applause for him. And it's really funny, because it's a rubber ducky that was outside by the pizzas. I don't know if any of you saw it. Look how happy he is. And he's like a full-blown man. He's not even a girl in a school in Kent. So anyway, so then I play this game with them. So these are people, and I know they're all dead, and we'll get to that eventually. But these are all people and fantastic women in the history of STEM. So women are great problem solvers. This is what I talk about. In fact, that they solve problems and they create cool things. The first one, we all know who she is, because obs. Sue's made sure of that. The second lady, does anyone know who she is? Hand straight up. Yes, Suze. It is Stephanie Kwolek. A round of applause for Suze. She also gets a pen. Answers mean prizes. That's how you get audience participation. Stephanie Kwolek, what does she do, Suze?
She's a chemical engineer and she invented by accident Kevlar.
She invented Kevlar by accident. For any of you that don't know and haven't seen the slide, Kevlar is the main material in bulletproof vests. It's what makes them bulletproof. She did that by mistake. She's also a woman. Imagine how many lives she's saved. Yeah? Okay, cool. The next photo, does anyone recognise who that is? I'd be surprised actually if you do. Although yesterday, because the girls knew there was prizes, we kind of spent like 5 minutes trying to guess who it might be and what they might do. No, that's Angela Ruiz Robles. She's a Spanish teacher who invented the e-book. So she filed the first patent for the e-book in 1949, which is interesting. Yesterday they didn't know what e-books were, though I'm sure all of you do know here. Normally they don't know what the encyclopedia is. And then the final lady on the end, does anyone recognise her? There we go, round of applause, Betsy Nesmith. You want to come get the sticker? So this is Betsy Nesmith Graham. You can get the sticker. Almost, gosh. Don't throw things at children, by the way. Health and safety. So it's Betsy Nesmith Graham, who gave birth to one of the members of the Monkeys, but also invented liquid paper, otherwise known as Tipp-Ex. For this, I normally show a picture of a typewriter, and they all have a big giggle because none of the girls have ever seen it outside a museum. And then I asked them for the link between typewriter and Tipp-Ex. There's no delete button, which is obvious for us. Not so much if you're under 18. So I show them examples of where women have solved problems, and the fact that throughout history they are really good at doing that, and there's loads of people who have had great things happen from that. I then give them examples of where diversity and including a diverse set of people has helped us solve problems. So even if it's not a woman solving the problem, the presence of a woman has helped solve problems. Not everyone will have this photo, so I was thinking about how we do this. I'm still working on this. Like I said, this is from this morning, so I don't know. Photo on the left. Does anyone recognise who I'm stood next to? You may or may not. Excuse me. So that guy is my mate John, the voice of Siri, up until version iOS 8, and then he got kicked off and it was someone else that got put on. He's not the female voice as well. I sometimes get asked. So I have Siri there as an example of voice recognition software. So we've had this for decades. Is anyone here Scottish? Actually, yeah. And you've still got this problem in Scotland. Siri doesn't understand what you're saying when you talk to Siri. Now, that's a problem for Scotland now, I think just maybe for English language, English speaking. It's the only accent that they haven't quite worked out yet. But for the ye olde Siri, you'll all remember it was a bit shit, basically. You kind of say, hey, give me directions to King's Cross, and it'd say, did you want ice cream? And you'd go, no, it's definitely not what I said. Again, that was because they didn't have loads of different voices that were part of the software that had been trained to learn, including female voices. And initially, if you think back to typewriters, it was women that were using those mostly, so that didn't really work. But now you have Siri and you feel like you're talking to John all the time. The second example I give them of where women are sometimes the solution are seatbelts. So with this, I don't have any, there are no girls here today, so I won't ask anyone to come up, but I asked any of the male teachers or the guys in the room to come and stand at the front. I asked a girl to stand next to them. We say we're going to be really polite to both of these people in answering 2 questions. The first question is the average man taller or shorter than the average girl? So hands up if you think the average man is taller than the average girl. You're all really worried now. Don't have enough goodies for all of you. Hands up if you think the average man is shorter than the average girl. No one does, okay, cool. And I say, okay, again, we still want to be polite. Hands up if you think the average man is lighter in weight than the average girl. And again, average man heavier than the average girl, hands up. Although yesterday we had one girl who didn't want to make friends, so just thought the girl was heavier than the guy. It's the first time it's ever happened, but we all laughed about it, it was funny. So average man, taller and heavier, than the average girl. And so when the team of engineers that put together seatbelts first tested them, they then killed the women and children. Yeah, eyes went big. Normally there's an audible gasp. It's a matter of life and death that you all go into STEM. Okay, cool, fantastic. Then I run through, I don't know what my timing is on. They said there was a moderator who told me when to shut up. No, there's no timing. Sorry guys. And then if I'm running short on time, which I might be now, I then zip through 5 reasons why, if all of that hasn't convinced them, one of these 5 or more will definitely convince them as to why they should work in a STEM-related career. Still quite broad. I know we've talked about engineering and technology and science all being different, but I'm going for the whole thing. Why not? You know, there's so many different things you can do. They're all mashed together, so whatever. Just make sure you're in the right bus, I guess, that has STEM on the front. So 5 reasons. First is the fact that you're able to work on projects that help people and change lives. This speaks to altruism, which is something that I think we don't talk enough about when we talk to young people, girls or otherwise, about what STEM is all about. It's about problem solving, but also helping people. So I give 2 examples. This is one example. I like this one because it has the word text message in it, which is quite funny, because young people don't text anymore unless they're texting their parents or they've run out of data. They'll use WhatsApp. This is a platform that was built for Indian farmers in a rural area, 500,000 of them, and it basically used text-based technology, so 3D technology, SMS, to communicate prices between farmers. So you kind of have a market, you know how much stuff costs, you know how much they're selling it for and they're selling it for, and so you can kind of get better money for your rice or whatever you're selling. And what that meant was that then you had farmers earning more money, which is great because farmers earn more money, but the knock-on effect of that was that the literacy of the children, in particular the girls in those villages, then increased, which is great because we all don't use text, we laugh at text, but that's it, making real changes. The other example I give, and I always give it the wrong way around, but it's fine, is the 3 girls in Nigeria who turned a litre of urine into 6 hours of electricity, or the other way around. Who knows? Whichever way, it's pretty impressive that you can wee and generate electricity. And everyone's like, whoa. And I'm like, yeah, STEM. So that's reason 1. Reason 2 is money. And it's funny. This is definitely always reason 2. Don't go with it as reason 1. A lot of you are in STEM. You didn't go into it for the money necessarily. If you did, you're not still in it for the money. But the 2 things on the money is that, and this is an American stat, but I think in the UK we found it's kind of similar. If you're a woman working in the STEM field, you earn up to 30% more than than other women who don't work in STEM fields. So I think it's 30% more. Also, the Deloitte report we all saw last week about the gender pay gap. It's virtually non-existent at the beginning, so you're paid the same as the boys, which is kind of cool. And it's not money for money's sake, but it's money to get things that you like. Most people like food. More money, more food, which we'll come to shortly. Reason 3 is swag. And you can fill this in with any photo you want. So again, because I run Stemettes, I've got some cool photos from different stuff that we've done. Has anyone here heard of the Grace Hopper celebration of women in computing? Is anyone going this year? Oh man, so we take 5 girls every year, taking them to Houston in 3 weeks' time, to this big conference. There were 12,000 women in tech there last year. It's huge, it's massive, it's crazy. You arrive on your first day, and this is your swag bag. So you kind of turn up at this conference, they give you all this stuff for free, and everyone's like, whoa. It's a 3-day conference, so at the end of the 3 days, the last time I went, this was what I had picked up. So when we go, we literally take an empty suitcase and we just clean all the stands out. I've still got bits and pieces of this in the office, actually. Things like the sunglasses, I have no use for, because we live in England. The Google socks, I always make a joke that we've got a black market running, so if any of the girls want a pair of Google socks, they can come talk to me after the presentation. But I do also ask them to tell me what these are. So can anyone tell me? Shower gel and...
Dry erase markers?
Oh, no, gosh, yeah. So those are actually hand sanitizer pens. But it's shower gel and shampoo, which is what I'm asking them to look at, so you get a t-shirt. Sorry, this is why you shouldn't throw things at people. So that shower gel and shampoo, which is from Dove or P&G, and I say to them, you know, this is their company, this is their business model. Why are a shampoo company going to a conference and giving out over 12,000 bottles of shampoo and shower gel when they could be selling it to those people? It's because they really, really need people in STEM. They really, really want these women in tech. That's how much they want you. They're willing to give their stuff away for free. Also talk about games developers. Anyone here that's a games developer? Actually, by incident? No? Girls love that job, honestly. It's crazy. Games developer, games tester. That's a real job as well. Take it from me, I've met a couple before. They love that. So imagine the swag you get at a games conference. What? So that happens. So that's reason 3, the swag you get. You get pretty good swag. Are we agreed on that, actually? Some of these are controversial. Yeah, rubber duckies. Number 4 is the free food. Free food tastes better. Girls love free food. And I tell them about the free food that we get to eat and we get to see. So there was pizza here today. At most tech companies, so this is Bloomberg's. Anyone been to Bloomberg's offices? Yeah, so you can verify this is a real photo of their first floor. It is taken from their video, their promo video for them as a company, so that's why they're only showing the healthy options that they've got on that floor. And there's chocolate, there's biscuits, there's olives. It's a wonderland of food. Side note, we actually took 45 girls there last summer as part of our summer project. And they had like a morning at Bloomberg, got to talk to different people, won different stuff. And they all got goodie bags. And kind of as we were leaving, they all kind of stood with the goodie bags and just cleaned the shelves into their goodie bags. And because it's Bloomberg and it's free food, someone came out of a trolley and just restacked all of them immediately. In Bloomberg? Do they really? Oh my God, I have to go and see it. There you go, nuts. So you can add that as well. New York have a circular food escalator. It's manic. Google have a sushi chef and also have people that do pasta. Has anyone ever been to Google before? You've seen the free food, and it's also for visitors. So I talk about my friends who have empty fridges at home. Sorry, and? Endless salmon.
They will literally just keep refilling the salmon.
And these are wonderland. Like, why wouldn't you want to work in STEM if someone was just going to give you free food? And I tell them it's free food all day, every day. The cynics among you will say, yeah, that's so you can stay at work longer. But under 18s don't need to know that. So it's free food. I also put a bit of a disclaimer in that not all STEM companies do this. But there's a hope that by the time the girls get there, maybe they will all have cottoned onto it. Who knows? But a surprising number of places. I once did this talk in front of Dame Athene Donald, who's at Cambridge, and she said she gets free food. But I don't know if that's because it's her or... But anyway, so that's reason 4. And then reason 5 is that you get to wear what you want. You can all make this slide as you wish. This is me at my desk. So I used to work at Deutsche Bank. So this is me on the 19th floor in Liverpool Street at my desk, working in tech. You can see I've got a bit of a cold in the middle and the top. I'm kind of recovering from the cold, top right. Sun's in my eyes, bottom left, because life. I've got my sunglasses that day, and then I remember my sunglasses, bottom right. Can pretty much wear what you want all the time. So I'm sort of dressed up today, sort of. Don't ask. I normally wear a dress and trainers, because life, and most of you kind of don't really have to think too much about what you wear to work. Agreed? Yeah, unless you're in a PPE or in a lab coat, I guess, don't wear anything sharp, but that's about it, really. So those are my kind of 5 reasons. I'm going to end with one more thing, because I'm guessing time is almost running up. I'm going to end with this, which is memes. There are loads of really cool memes. I always end with this one, and it's not because I didn't choose the pug life, it's because often when we go into schools to talk to the girls, it's almost like you're pleading, or you're kind of like, please choose this, or it's kind of like you're trying to sell them something. And so I kind of end with the curveball, and I'm like, it might seem like I'm trying to sell you this, but actually, you live in 2016, and by the time you work, things will have moved on a little bit more, which means that you don't have a choice. Like, no one's going to sit down and put a typewriter in front of you on your first day of work. You're going to have to do something vaguely technical, whatever it is that you end up doing. So you kind of want to get with the program ahead of time, so you don't have to play catch-up by the time it does come around. And that's what I end on. Really, really importantly, and this is the slide for them, it's not necessarily for you, because I don't know, how many of you use Snapchat? There you go. Oh, really? Look at you down with the kids. So I end with this one, and I think, I'm not saying that you have to exclusively, reference Stemettes, obviously not, but always give them something to follow up with, or a way to kind of be in touch, or to continue on. So you've done your inspiring, what next? Where do you kind of funnel them into next? There's a lot of talk about interventions and one-time interventions and how they do work or don't work. I think one-time interventions have their place, but you kind of want to open up a channel so that then if they are interested, and you have one-time intervened, they can kind of continue it on in a way that makes sense to them. So whether it's some of the other RoboGals or any of the other ones, kind of do your research, find out what's near them, and send them on to something that's accessible for them. That's my talk.